Welcome to the EchoCast. Kind of. This is going to be a pretty short episode. It's the day after Thanksgiving. There hasn't been a lot of news this week. The one story about the Activision, Xbox, Sony saga, I'll talk about next week. If you don't know, this is a podcast about video games in general, news, speculation, all of that stuff from my opinion, and I'm always looking for yours. But this episode is just going to be a quick thank you. Maybe I'll answer a few questions, talk a little bit about what's coming in the future of the show, and that's going to be it. Next week we'll be back to normal, and then we'll have the Game Awards, and we'll have lots to talk about there. And so welcome. First, I just want to thank anyone who's watching this, listens to the podcast, pays attention to me on any social media platform. I just really appreciate it. This is the season of thanks, right? And, I've been doing this stuff, depending on the content, for 4 to 5 years at this point. I'm in my early 30s, and that's a not insignificant part of my life. I've been doing it before my child was born, who's now 3. I've been doing it since shortly after I got married, which I got married about 6 years ago. It's, been a big part of my adult life. And, I'm not the biggest show in the world. I don't have the biggest YouTube channel ever. I'm not the most popular on social media. But I am all of those things enough to be happy. Obviously, I'd like to grow, and I'm still trying to do that. But I really just want to say thank you to the people who listen or watch or whatever to any of my content, specifically this podcast, but also anything else, my videos, interviews, and so on and so forth. So this is a thank you to you. If you're hearing this, I appreciate you. As for the future, I've seen a lot of growth, especially in the last month. With especially my YouTube channel. The Mass Effect content around N7 Day was very successful, at least on my scale. It was great. It felt really good to kind of be excited, to see the things I was doing be seen, because that's why you do it, right? So, I plan on continuing to cover that, obviously. I think more of that will come sooner than we think, but we'll have to wait and see. I will still cover The Division for the OGs out there, and I'll cover anything else that's exciting. Starfield's coming. I'm definitely going to be talking a lot about that, and basically anything else that I'm excited about. That's I try to reach out to things outside of my general kind of tunnel vision. And I try to be accommodating to the people who listen. That's why I ask for questions and topics and so on. So we'll keep doing that. But yeah, I feel like it's in a good spot. I'll keep doing the podcast. I'll keep doing interviews when it feels right and when I can get the right people. I'll keep making YouTube videos and probably focusing on that more so, especially than streaming on Twitch. I do want to keep streaming on Twitch. It's just hard to find the time. Making videos is so much easier. If I have a spare couple hours, I can just make like 3 or 4 videos, where if I spent that same time streaming, it just wouldn't have the same reach. So the streaming is kind of I have time, I want to chat with people, let's do it. The YouTube is, I have something to say, and here is me saying it. Or I have something to share. Let's talk to a lot of people about it. So that's where we're going. As for social media, I'll go down with the Twitter ship for the most part. I think it'll be fine long term, but probably not in the current hands. We'll have to hopefully see something happen with that. I do think that something like Hive or something maybe we haven't heard of yet will come along and be really attractive to people. So I am keeping an eye out. Mastodon is terrible. I'm not going there. So I will, you're welcome is what I'll say to that. Mastodon's just awful. So bad. If you like Mastodon, cool, I guess. But man, Ugh. Ugh. Yeah. So that's kind of the gist of what I had to say. I do have, I kind of threw out like an AMA thing today, and so I'll quickly go through some of those. At mech_warrior on Twitter said Andor opinions. I haven't watched it yet. I've seen, I think, 2 episodes, so I haven't seen it all the way through. I've seen people I trust say it's their favorite show ever. It's their favorite Star Wars thing ever, other than like the trilogy, the original trilogy, or I've seen rave reviews about it, and so I really want to watch it at some point, it seems like I need to get to that. I also had at Welter_117 on Twitter saying, "How do you feel about dynamic weather in games?" And then they kind of talk about a lot of games that have done it or that do it, like The Division, Fallout 4, Witcher 3, and so on. I'm mixed on it. Like I really like the dynamic weather in The Division, but I feel like in one like 20-minute span, it can change so much that it like, kind of takes you out of it a little bit. It's like, this is cool, but boy, this is happening a lot. I feel like a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 did it pretty well, and it didn't feel as forced or as like quick changing. It felt more natural. Especially because I believe you could see like the storm clouds building and coming towards you and then hitting you. Like that was pretty cool. And I actually do believe the Division does that as well. It just does it faster. So I'm a huge fan of it. I like it to be toned down a bit. At_Logan Will_ asked, what are your other hobbies, things you do in your free time for fun besides gaming and content creation? So it's mostly working because I'm an adult, spending time with my wife and my child because they're the best. The things I do on my own the most would probably be playing sand volleyball. Even though I'm a short thumb person, I really enjoy sand volleyball and I'm not bad at it. So I play in 2 leagues a couple nights a week and really enjoy that. Other than that, it's spending time with friends, family, doing yard work, being an adult. But my main like thing I do consistently, other than the gaming stuff, is sand volleyball, surprisingly. But you would be surprised with how much with how much the gaming takes up of my free time, which is anything not with my work, my personal life, or my family. So that's a great question. I really like that one. Over on YouTube, Sebastokrator, I'm sure I jacked that up real bad, asked, have you ever played the Witcher series? If yes, do you like it more than Dragon Age? Personally, I don't like Dragon Age, but love The Witcher. I love Mass Effect, but dislike Cyberpunk. I think BioWare does sci-fi better, but CDPR does fantasy better. That's fair. I think that's a decent take. So one of my greatest gaming shames is that I've attempted to play The Witcher 3, probably 4 or 5 times. Because I'm like, there's times where I'm just looking for something meaty to get into, and I can just never get past like the first hour. I'm not a high fantasy guy. In the first place, I don't find the feel of that game to feel very good. I don't like the combat, and so I never get into it long enough to care about the characters. So yeah, one of my greatest shames is that, and I've never played Witcher 1 or 2. I do intend to play this remaster, this 4K next gen upgrade of Witcher 3. I think I already have it loaded on my Xbox. I'm ready to go. I'll be surprised if it catches me. That just isn't my aesthetic. It's not my genre, I guess. And compared to Dragon Age, I've never played Dragon Age 1 or 2. And I've played like 15 to 20 hours of Inquisition. And this is kind of the same thing, the same reasons. I just can't really get into it. And that game, Inquisition, feels too long. Like it feels like it moves very slowly. Obviously, there's an audience for that. It just isn't me. I am super excited about Dreadwolf. more so because I'm finally into the BioWare world. I'm a fairly new Mass Effect fan as of the Legendary Edition. And so I'm curious, and I'm going to play Dreadwolf because it's a BioWare thing while I wait for Mass Effect. I'll be surprised if I'm like super into it. Like another thing, I've never played Skyrim. I've dabbled, it just hasn't caught me. But I love Fallout. So, and then when you say the love Mass Effect with dislike Cyberpunk, like I like the idea of Cyberpunk, and I think Cyberpunk does some cool stuff, but it just kind of doesn't cross the finish line on like most of the things it tries to do. There's a good game in there. We just will probably never see it unless they do this supposed sequel. But yeah, great question. Very, very good. And then over on the Discord, Jub said, and how and where do you get your info from? So I watch 3 or 4 different gaming podcasts pretty consistently. Kind of Funny's daily stuff. Jeff Grubb's Game Mess with Mike Minotti, and Nintendogs, the last of the Nintendogs with Mike Minotti and Jeff Grubb, and then a lot of Giant Bomb stuff, as well as the EchoCast Twitter account mostly only follows like gaming, notable gaming personalities who post a lot of news, as well as most of the big outlets, at least the ones I personally prefer. And so I kind of use it as kind of a way to keep track of what's going on, and to have stories for each week. I also do a little of my own dabbling in shooting questions to people in the industry and stuff. I'm trying to get more into that. I'm never looking to be like a big like influencer or anything, but I would like to do some like original reporting eventually, and trying to get on like other people's podcasts and stuff like that. But it's mostly having some good bookmarks, a bunch of followed Twitter accounts, and watching a lot of gaming podcasts every week to kind of gather the stories I may not typically grab myself. So, this podcast starting off as The Division podcast, it was so easy back then. I knew I would talk about the news, I would talk about what's going on in the game currently, and I would talk about speculation about that game or whatever the next game would be, and then expanding into this bigger world. I have the things I like to talk about every week. Mass Effect if I can, even The Division, Xbox stuff, like my own personal stuff, but also trying to reach out and grab things I don't typically delve in and still be informed and have an opinion, and to tell people about those things that are happening who may be in kind of a silo like myself. So that's a great question though. So those are all the questions I can do for now. I'm going to wrap this video up. Again, thank you so much for watching my content, listening to my content, paying attention to me. Time is a really valuable resource. And so when people use theirs on me, I really appreciate it. And just thank you. So, subscribe or follow on whatever platform you're listening to this on, please. Comment and review and do all those things. Catch me on Twitter for now as at Bond Diesel or at the EchoCast. And just be cool. Just be good to everyone. That's all I have for this one. Until next time.